Welcome to TLC for the Soul podcast, where soul meets spirit. You have entered into sacred space. I'm your host, TAMI Chambers, and I'm here to help you shine. Now let's get going on this podcast journey. Hello, friends. Hello, and welcome. Welcome to Bringers of the Light Sunday, one of my favorite ways to hang out with you guys. Welcome, welcome. Settle in, settle in. Whether you're watching me on YouTube, I'm here on the camera today, or whether you're listening on the podcast, welcome. It's a little cold to be outside, so we are at a walk on Keystone Arch Bridge Trails in Massachusetts on YouTube. Just to have some outdoor, and there's a river there too. Ooh, I'm excited. All right, water. I think it's 40 degrees outside here. It's not too bad, but I think it's gonna get cold in a couple of days. We've had unseasonably warm, apparently plus 15 to 20 degrees above average. Well, we'll see what's gonna happen. All right, before I go any further, let's wrap us all in love light and light love, inviting in the guides who overlight TLC for the soul, Archangel Michael, Archangel Metatron, the Pleiadians, and a host of all my TLC for the soul guides joining us right now as we are going to read our channeled chapter and talk about the energies of the week ahead. We're working with my book, Flying Potion. Links to everything I talk about are always in the show notes, regardless of where you find this, whether you're at a major podcast provider or whether you are watching us on YouTube. So before we just jump right into the chapter, what are the big things coming up this week ahead? What are things that we want you to know as we just settle in with everybody that's new here? I'm an author, an artist, a master healer. We do a lot on the channel. We've been around on the interwebs this is our 7th year anniversary. Well, actually this past October was our 7th year anniversary. I write channeled fiction and nonfiction books. Everything I have right now, I did have things out there in paperback format, but I'm redesigning. I'm in the process of redesigning all of those. So I pulled all of those. We pulled all of those. And so everything is out there in ebook format right now. And everything in ebook format is free to read. Apple Books, Google Books, Barnes and Nobles, my ebook publisher, Smashwords. The link is in the show notes for that. And I also make some little oracle decks and stuff. So I've got about 10 to 15 published decks. They're all at the Game Crafter. And we do have a merch store over on Redbubble where I'm getting ready to drop some new designs very soon. And I think there's something everywhere at TLC for the Soul for you to enjoy, whether you've been here a few days or whether you've been here. Some of you, I know when I see you in the comments, have been here pretty much almost for that whole 7-year journey. So you've been hanging in there, I've been hanging in there, and the big news this week is Pluto finally leaving Capricorn for good, moving into Aquarius for the next 20 years, and I don't know, like this little ring always gets me every time. It's part of my phone case, but I don't know when it's hanging there, it bothers me. But finally moving out of Aquarius, or finally moving into Aquarius. And I think you'll see that come out in the channeling. Now, I think this is on YouTube only. So if you're on a podcast and you want access to more content, you've got a couple of places to go. YouTube, sometimes I will drop, if they're card readings, sometimes I'll put them on the podcast, but if you want the visuals, you want to come over to YouTube. But I started a Fabulous Friday series where we do pull cards and look at the cards for the week ahead. So I already did that. That video is out there for you to look at if you want to. So we drew cards and talk about the energies from Friday to like Thursday, because that's when I feel like the energies shift. So in a minute, we'll talk about, just briefly mention those cards. The other place to talk about is Patreon, which is like a members only. So it is kind of a members. You can join and be like a free member, but you only have access to certain posts. But it is like a membership-based platform. We do have the TLC for the Soul over on Patreon, and there's a lot of content out there already. You can look at those things. Some of those things you can just buy access to, like the collective readings, timeless readings, some of the motivational Mondays and certain things. And a new thing that I uploaded yesterday that I've been wanting to do for a while is our mini workshop labs. And I did an introductory video to this on YouTube. It is in a playlist called Financial Self-Mastery. And I've moved the actual mini lab course, which I think is going to be like a 3-part course, into Patreon. So you can purchase access to just the course. Or if you want to join us for even more content, you can become a member of the Patreon. So getting that housekeeping, and it's not just housekeeping, I'm sorry, but these are our offerings for you as the TLC for the Soul Collective. So I'm not going to apologize for, some people are like, why are you just touting your wares? And it's like, excuse me, these are our offerings for everybody, however you choose to imbibe them, whether you want to just have what we have here or whether you want to do more. See all of those things as gratitude offerings and ways of giving back, which is a big part of the Financial Self-Mastery mini lab that we're doing. So I've put an introductory part to that. I may move a little portion of it onto YouTube and the podcast so you can kind of get a taste for what that's going to be about. But again, those things are there if you want them and if you feel like you need them or are called to them. Now, let me just, we have all the guides here. They've been with me all morning as I was walking with the dog at the river. Oh, that's the other thing. Before we just jump into the despacho that we want to make. We're still going to do the despacho, which is the packet, the offering to the guides and to whoever we want to make, to source, to God, to the angels, whoever's working on these things for us, asking for the boon on our behalf. And the boon that we're asking for, the boon that we usually get, so a boon is like a wish granted. I just saw 717 on the timer when I said wish granted. 717 for me is a big number about things moving forward. That's all. The past 16 years that Pluto has been in Capricorn since January 2008 have all been about this individual uphill climb to transform yourself. I mean, what is the sign of Capricorn? The mountain goat or whatever you want to call it. Some people say that the devil card is associated with Capricorn. I'm not sure. I haven't really looked into that closely, how the tarot is associated with the astrology, but I do think the sign of the ram, it feels like it's been much of a singular journey. Even if other people have been involved, I feel like it's been a big ascension, awakening journey. 2008, think about happening in 2008. In 2008, my whole life started, almost instantaneously. As soon as Pluto hit Capricorn, I didn't know about Pluto and Capricorn back then, but I'm looking back at that time, and right when that happened, I knew exactly what was happening for me. It was very weird, and I don't need to bring it up again because I think I brought it up before, but my whole world shifted into a weird downturn. And now I feel like we've done all the work we need, and now we're up on this upswing again. So I don't want to belabor that too much because I think we've kind of previewed that in the past 2 or 3 shows about what we expect to change. But I think we're going to see it come out in this chapter of Flying Potion. If you have not kept up with Flying Potion, we've been working on that on Bringers of the Light Sundays. All my books that I write are what I call channeled via automatic writing. I don't do first drafts and plan books and do outlines and all that. I sit down in sacred space with my guides. I say, these are guides I've had with me since the beginning of my journey, 2013, 2014, 2015. I've had these guides for 10 years now, but we sit down in sacred space, create a circle, create a container. I always say, I want to write Bringers of the Light Rockaway Point. I've got quite a few book series out there now. And then I just I use Google Keep. I just open my Google Keep. I just type what I hear through my spiritual gift of clairaudience. That's how all these books are done. So Flying Potion, we are on chapter 12, which I think is called Mindy Decides to Stay. If you're new here, if you haven't been keeping up with the story, you've got different ways to play with this energy. You can like choose to look at it as just a fun story to follow. And there's many Bringers of the Light books out there now in ebook form. You can feel free to download those. This one I've been slowly making the audio book for as we've been channeling the chapters. We've been working on this one now for a couple of months each Sunday, and during the week I bring in chapters. But we've got audiobook chapters 1 through 11 out there now in audiobook on the podcast and on YouTube. They're in a playlist in Spotify and a playlist on YouTube. And all you have to do is start at the beginning of the playlist, and you can listen to the whole thing to where we're at now, or however you want to embark on that or play with that or whatever. That's out there too as something fun. Okay, so I think it's time for the chapter. So when wow, why do I keep wanting to say wow? When we last left off, we were with the beached whale at Seafarers Cove. So we've gone through all the Samhain and Halloween fun at the WBAT 44 AM Haunted House. We had gone to Rockaway Point, and we'd gone to the corn maze. We, Rory and Sunny in the story, and Abigail and Dakar were trying to do some stuff. And then our antagonist, I guess if you want to call her in this book, is Mindy Smatherton. She's the one that wrote the book Flying Potion. She's a very inept witch. Most of her spells fall flat. And the last time she decided that she felt some weird past life connection with the Dakar. Abigail and Dakar are like seasoned agents. And Bringers of the Light is me, it's you, it's all of us, light warriors, spiritual warriors, light workers, witches, warlocks, fae, whatever you want to call yourself, or whatever you resonate with, or whatever guides you work with. I mean, we're all Bringers of the Light. We're all here to help raise the vibration of the planet. That's like our primary directive. That's our primary directive. I don't know, but that's how we relate to Bringers of the Light. It's all of us. It's not just a book series, okay? All of us are kind of like built into these chapters in some way, just because those are the intentions I set when I write these stories. They can be just fun stories, but we use them as healing workbooks and healing tools. We use them as divination tools and many other things. So choose them with intention if you want to read one. And if you want to take the story deeper, ask your guides and sit down, and we show you every Sunday how we use these as healing tools as we bring out the metaphors, or the text or whatever's here points us to what we need to most be aware of in this now. So we had the whole Halloween, Samhain, celebrations, and then we had a whale that was beached or got beached inadvertently at Seafarers Cove, and we had townspeople going out to try to calm the whale and help it. And apparently this is not the first time it's happened. Some sort of siren song off the coast of Rockaway Point, which is in my etheric cities that I've built up in the northern coast of the UK somewhere. We've built them in our 5D world. And they're reflections, of all of us and of different things, our wishes and our dreams. And so this whale got beached, and it was wanting to get back to its mate. And so the townspeople have a process of very clear protocols of what they're supposed to do when things like this happen. So they're down there working on the whale, and that's kind of where we left them. Polly Willikers, who's part of our Spectre and Book Coven, which is Abigail's coven or book club, whatever moniker you want to use, whatever group setting you're in. You're either in a coven, you're in a book club, quote unquote book club. Or coven if you just don't care what people think. All right, but Polly was working with the whale, with her healing tools, with her medicine bag and all that. She was just trying to help the whale stay calm. That was her job. And she told the whale, like, just hold out a little bit longer. You're going to be on your way soon. And they were cutting lines off the whale and doing all this stuff. Now we move off the beach again, back to Abigail and Dakar. And for this week ahead, and I channeled this right before this show, is chapter 12, Mindy Decides to Stay. So listen with your master senses, just like you would do an oracle tarot reading or some sort of reading that you might get. Different metaphors and things are built into the content, so they might have special meanings for you. They might just be fun serendipities or synchronicities, or just, again, you could just see this as a fun story. So this is Flying Potion, chapter 12. Mindy Decides to Stay. And then as we, sorry, I keep interrupting myself, but as we go through this at the end, we'll talk about the week ahead, how this applies to the week ahead. Dakar moved out of the way as a huge truck went by. It was the wench truck off to help move the beached whale back into the water. Dakar hadn't been called to action at the beach, so instead he readied himself for something fun, because Lord knows after last week we need it. This whole time he'd been working and now dealing with this witch who'd had eyes on him. The dog is having a dream. He'd placed a banishing spell around her, and the energy was starting to dissipate. She hopefully was gone, or at the most would just forget about him and move on with her life. Dakar had missed his fishing trip with Clark because of all the happenings, but today was a new day. He was going to take Abigail to Loveland Park. Loveland Park was Rockaway Point's little slice of themed park fun, albeit smaller and not as dense as, say, something like Orlando, Florida, with its vast and sumptuous sprawling theme parks. Loveland had a more small-town feel, but it was still a great place to get away from it all. Abigail was ready as she waved goodbye to Rainicourt, that's her familiar, her raven familiar, who for all intents and purposes would be shadowing her as she went on this outing anyway. What else was a familiar to do but watch over its person? Loveland Park was having its annual tree trimming ceremony at the main park area. A meet and greet for the Christmas elves, a toffee pulling contest at the Candy Shack, a special themed dinner at the restaurant Love Knot, and a photo op with Santa later that afternoon. Abigail was excited and had dressed in a red velvet suit that was stretchy, warm, and fashionable. She put her Loveland fairy wings on in the Christmas glitter style and waited patiently for Dakar to arrive. She'd been looking forward to this event all season, as she'd been going to Loveland Park since she was a child. Mindy Smatherton was also getting ready to go to Loveland Park. She spritzed herself with some Christmas cookie cologne and looked at herself in the mirror of her newly rented bungalow just down the street from the Chai House in that trendy upscale area of town that Benjamin Black was trying to repurpose. Blacktongue Properties had purchased the old wharf warehouse buildings at an auction and since then had been slowly turning them into a space for people to shop and live. Yes, Rockaway Point was slowly moving out of the olden days and into something a little more modern. Some were happy about that and others weren't. But regardless, they were still a tight-knit, happy town, and the vibe on the coast was just what many visitors and tourists came there for. This the perfect spot for Loveland Park, and now the newer Blacktongue Promenade. Mindy was going to walk to the Chai House and grab her favorite tea of the season, the Chai gingerbread, and then she'd have her bike that she just purchased from Lovebird's Bikes. The park was only a few miles out of town towards Tessa Lock, and she would easily make that ride. Yes, everything was shaping up. People were moving on with their lives. The beached whale was safely moved back into the water, and the town breathed a sigh of relief. And everyone looked expectantly towards the future with bright eyes and high hopes. So our week ahead, lots going on here. Before I go into the metaphors of what we channeled, the cards that we drew on Fabulous Friday, this is just a few of them, but they were like mirroring each other. But we had the Ace of Wands along with this Five of Cups, this kind of rest in peace energy, this casket. There's a casket and a tombstone that says like rest in peace, along with the Elven ones, which is a very high vibe, high light looking card. And we saw the week ahead as kind of like this little Ouroboros, I guess, so to speak, the snake eating its tail of all these endings happening simultaneously as new beginnings are coming in with this Pluto in Aquarius. Do we know what to expect with Pluto in Aquarius for 20 years? I keep thinking of like high hopes, higher light. What is the sign of Aquarius all about? And Aquarius is also, is that like, yeah, that's, it's 11th house energy. So in the astrology, you know, take a look. What does Aquarius mean to you? Maybe you don't even know, but I mean, it's like, to me, it's Aquarian people, the Aquarian age is all about expansion, I feel like, and upgrading and out of the box thinking and like new, like new ideas, things you hadn't thought of before, new expressions of self, not being afraid to be yourself. You know, look at the people who were, I always think of David Bowie when I think of Aquarians because he was an Aquarius. People who were very avant-garde and up and coming, and not even just people, but like the energies are all supporting this, like, you know, up and coming, expansive, you know, thing. And the sign of Aquarius, that glyph of like the waves of, I see it as waves of energy, supporting and surrounding like higher thinking, higher mindedness. The Elven ones in this card, it's very like gold and light filled card. It's the crown chakra is very activated there. It's very, very bright card. And I think really to put these cards in order, you know, we're closing down for this week ahead the past with this Five of Cups, which is all came out in the channeling, like everything's kind of wrapping itself up. The beached whale is going back into the water. You know, that was a big emergency like a few chapters ago, and everybody had to deal with it. And everybody in this particular chapter seems to be having fun. Like Mindy decides to stay in Rockaway Point. She had been in Tesla. We don't even know really where she came from. We don't know much about her background. I just saw 2222 on the timer. But we've got new people in Rockaway Point. We've got Loveland Park is not a new place. I've had Loveland Park. I have a whole oracle deck, or actually 4 oracle decks of Loveland. Through the seasons, I have a Loveland spring, summer, fall, and winter set of decks that you can, you know, use individually, or you can get them as like a bundle, and that would be like 88 cards. And it's a whole thing about Loveland Park. So my Loveland series has been around for a while now, since I made those decks. I don't even know when. So maybe past projects too that we feel like couldn't get their feet off the ground before with this Pluto and Capricorn, because maybe you were supposed to be focusing on something else, are starting to take off now. This whole thing with Benjamin Black, who is our mysterious warlock of Black Tongue Properties LLC. He's known, his whole business model is around themed places throughout the globe. So he takes properties and he turns them into themed things, and it's not just theme parks. It's like hotels, restaurants, all these different things, and he's got like this global influence. And I think that's what maybe some of you might be moving towards too, whether it's just in your own work that you do with your own light body, you know, maybe you're not like, well, I don't want to be a global entrepreneur. I just am here to help raise the vibration of the planet. It's like, I think our light bodies too, with this Aquarian energy, are going to allow us, yes, are going to, I'm getting big chills, are going to allow us to shift even into even higher ascension frequencies that we haven't had access to before. And I saw a channeling. I didn't look at it. I haven't looked at it yet. And I don't know. I might go take a look at what he has to say. But it was a cryon channeling that says the magnetic fields have shifted again. And I think that that was in preparation for these higher energies coming in. We're also in a period called like solar maximum, where there's much more intense solar activity. And I have talked about in past videos where I feel like we are ramping up. Our energy fields have been being ramped up, especially for those of you that have been trying to manifest things since maybe even 2008. Things that you wanted that you haven't been able to get moving, get off the ground. I feel like as Pluto even moves into like, when are we going to start seeing these things? They're saying right away you're going to notice a visible shift in energy. So the clock for the Pluto leaving Capricorn and moving into Aquarius is, I think, like 2:30 something my time, which is Central Time Zone in the United States, on Tuesday the 19th. And they're saying you're going to feel a visible shift by the next morning. Even you're gonna almost like feel it as it like ticks over. You're gonna start feeling it, and then things are gonna start ramping up. I feel it as like this thing like slowly unwinding, like all the things you want just suddenly just being brought to you swiftly, but through what they're calling like the divine plan. So everything you want can't like just drop into your plate all at once, right? So I think what the guides and the higher light beings behind the scenes have been doing all this time is creating those ways forward for us. Did we know in January 2008, or even throughout this whole 16-year journey, that maybe this was a significant turning point, this special November 19th date? No. Were they going to tell us, you know, it's going to be a 16-year journey? I think I would have like run away and like hid in a cave. You know, is it going to be a 10-year journey? Is it going to be an 8-year journey? You know, some people have been saying that their journey's like been 25 years. So, you know, is this Pluto and Aquarius the end all be all for the next 20 years? They're saying obviously other planetary alignments and things cause shift and changes as well. But this is like a major turning point, and they're saying it should be something to celebrate. It should be something to celebrate and to look forward to. So let me just look at our chapter. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, I do think the other thing too is that will continue this week is continue to manifest what you want. Continue to get those, maybe those old lists out and look and go like, man, I don't really want that anymore. Or I do. Like, we should have already been doing that in preparation for this event, but it's not too late. Especially we're still in this Taurian full moon energy for the next hours, I guess. Like most of today, maybe part of tomorrow, depending on when you watch this. So today would be Sunday, part of Monday. This whole despacho thing, they're like, get on that. You know, they want me to get on it. So I did find a place. I think I am going to try to let it go in the water of the river. I did find a little like pier with an overshot where there is a current. And the last time I did drop, the last despacho we did in I think I did it in 20, it's either 2020 or 2021. 2021, we dropped it in the Guadalupe River in New Braunfels, Texas. So we're going to make it. I'll do a little video, and when I go drop it, it's such a nice day today. We have nice weather for the next couple of days. We have 40s and 50s, and then after that, it's going to get cold and go down into the 20s and 30s, and it's just going to keep, I'm hoping it's not going to get, they keep telling me it's going to be a dry winter, which I'm like, please no snow and ice. I just want it to be, I just want to be able to get outside easily. If it's colder, that's one thing. You know, we have to deal with the cold here. It can go down We've got that special week in January where it goes down to -20 with a -50 wind chill. I'm not looking forward to that. But other than that, this is our third winter here. We know how to work it now. It's not our favorite thing, but it's not like, our first winter when we thought we were going to die in the cold. So there's so much to look forward to. Don't let your devil mind, there's this shift happening. And I think part of it is keep your eye on what you do want and not on what you don't want. And that whole part of like the chapters before where Mindy was like kind of quote unquote targeting Dakar, like she wanted him so badly and she was going to take care of Abigail's smile and get rid of her and all that. Like, Dakar put a banishing spell on Mindy, and I don't know, she seems like she's calmed down a little bit. Will she come back again and act weird? Who knows? I'm hoping that if she's going to stay, she will integrate herself into the town. Like, she'll take the higher vibe Aquarian approach. She'll integrate herself into the town. She'll enjoy her time there, and maybe she'll even become friends with Abigail and Dakar. Maybe we'll cut the cords to whatever that weird past life thing is that was drawing her to Dakar in the first place. And maybe she'll even, with her quirky ways, I'm getting big chills on that. Like, so think about this story in relation to you. Like, if there's people you're dealing with, maybe somehow they either move on out of your reality or you can cut the cords and make friends with them at least. And I'm hoping for Mindy and our Bringers of Light series, Spectre and Book Coven needs more members. Its membership has dwindled. They don't even have 13 witches. They only have like 4 or whatever. And they're trying to get more. So I'm hoping Mindy and Abigail will make friends, and Mindy will stay in Rockaway Point and become part of the Spectre and Book Coven because she's quirky and she's kind of funny, and I think she could be some really good comic relief, kind of like Heather Happenstance, who works for the Rockaway Point Gist, which is the newspaper, the town newspaper. Heather Happenstance is like our girl about town who likes, sees everything and like, what's so-and-so doing today, and has her little article or her little thing on WBAT 44 AM, which is the town radio station. She talks about different things she sees about, like your Gossip Girl or whatever. So I think the town is lighting up and shaping up. It feels like a much lighter energy this week ahead. And I think the thing that will get you the most this week is either some sadness about the past falling away, because in order to have some of these new things happen, you have to let old things go, or your mind getting in the way of what you want, continuing to drag you back to the past or things that happened, or maybe continuing to have that like doomsday mindset of like, nothing's ever really going to change. It's like, watch your energy this week ahead. It is going to be much lighter. I think you're really going to feel a shift towards the middle of the week. And when you do, they're saying the light always wins. When you do, it's because the light always wins. And if you have pure intentions, you're pure of heart, you're a bringer of the light. All this time you've been working on clearing your karma, you've been working on yourself, you've been ascending, you've been doing divine service work, you've been helping the planet and whatever it is to you, you're in a service to others mindset, then you've set yourself up for greatness already. Now, I'm channeling this too. Now all you have to do is watch everything start falling into place. So try not to go into the like, but nothing's has ever fallen into place yet, or it's been so long and how much longer. Try to have a little bit of, I know we're supposed to be in the now. The now is where our power is at. That's how we create and everything. But try to, when your mind starts pulling you to the past, if it does, try to bring yourself back to the now. But if you have to think of something, I think the best thing to do is reframe any negative thinking and think a little bit into the future. Like, man, what would it feel like if I got what I wanted? Versus, that's back again, or that hasn't left yet. Okay, switch that. Reframe your thoughts, do a little bit of neural pathway, like rejiggering. I've been trying to work on that a lot. Believe me, I still have past things lingering that I'm like, when is this going to be over? But focus on if you have to focus somewhere, focus on what you want, because that's how we manifest too, like focusing on how good it's going to feel to get what we want. Because nowhere in this whole entire journey has Spirit ever said, for some of the things that you're manifesting, like, no, you can't have that. If it's pure of intent, like all the things we just said, if it's for your highest and best good and that of what you want, you're going to get what you want. And since it's been such a long journey, anything that was you're not supposed to have would have already fallen away. And these things that keep coming back to you, Black Tongue Properties LLC, and you're supposed to upgrade your business or whatever, or like I said, Loveland for me has been around for a while. TLC for the Soul has been around for 7 years. None of that has fallen away. If anything, I get more excited. Like, I'm like, oh, I always am so excited to do Bringers to the Light Sunday. I'm excited for our community to grow, for more people to come, for more of our stuff to take off, to be able to do more things with you. I have very big dreams for TLC for the Soul that go way beyond, cards and books to go way beyond even that. So, if you have to focus, if your mind can't be in the present for whatever reason, or if it jumps around a lot, I'm a Gemini sun, my mind I can get into like mind jumping around a lot. I've worked a lot through meditation with Master Co to not do that so much, but I'm still a work in progress, just like all of us are. And I have my days and my moments where it can, old anxieties and things can creep back in, and they can, knock at my door. But I've got tools, in place to try and work with that and do the best. I can just do the best that I can and take all those tools that you've got. It's the same thing. You use all the resources you've learned over all this time you've been working on yourself to successfully move yourself out of those energies, whatever that is. And so when those old things creep back, just think about, like, what would it feel to hold my person's hand, or what would it feel like to go on this trip over here to this place, and do that. I mean, don't live in the future, but let yourself go there a little bit, because you haven't manifested these things yet, so you have to kind of stay in this hopeful anticipation of, like, what would it feel like if this were to be like that? And then bring yourself back into the present moment. And I think that will help you calm your energy. I had a very beautiful, like, little astral visit with my person last night. I love watching Sabrina, the Netflix Sabrina. I just watch it over and over again. It's only 4 seasons. And it was the episode on Lupercalia. And it was all about, like, a Valentine's Day kind of weird little pagan festival thing they did. And I mean, my person just came in and, like, took my hand, like, astrally. It was just so, like, this person's still there, somewhere out there somewhere. And it just had this moment of, like, don't give up. We were telling each other, like, don't give up now. So those are the kinds of things that help you manifest. And this just felt much more like, it was more than me, like, thinking, like, what would it feel like to have this person's hand in mine? It was more like this person astrally came in and their hand was in mine. Like, I felt and saw, like, a hand, like, holding my hand. So don't give up. You're so close. They're saying, keep going. Like we say, one foot in front of the other, you're going to get there. And until we do, we're just here to hold each other up. If you need the channel as a resource, that's how you use it. We have almost daily shorts that we do for the daily energies on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Thousands of posts and content, over almost 800, 900 videos on YouTube. If I'm not there, right there in your reality, with something new that's out, use the channel that way as like an oracle. Set your intention of a message you most need to know. Go to the channel, either, on the podcast or whatever. Take your fingers, close your eyes, scroll, put your finger down, and I guarantee you will get a message in a show that you most need to hear, or that you need to have fun with, or whatever in this now. Let me just stay let's just ask the guides of anything else. Okay, they're done. I'm done. So I'm going to let y'all go. Thank you so much for joining me here. And we will see you all again soon, somewhere in the astrals at TLC for the Soul. Take care. This episode has been brought to you by Loveland Carnival. Tuesday and Friday nights, come see Sarah the Strong Lady as she balances Seamus McRibbit and a host of other characters on her balancing wheel of strength. Join us for 50% off popcorn nights on Wednesdays and a special showing of the magical, mystical world of Loveland on the big screen in the city park, Loveland Carnival, a place where all kids, big and small, are welcome.